Hey everybody, thought I'd share a little bit of my project working on Red out here today. Red waited till it turned good and cold to start skipping on me. I went to look at a job Friday morning, got in old Red, fired him up, and I could tell something was skipping. Kind of skipping. I'd already promised I'd be there, so I went on and drove it, skipping. Lack of power, skipping. Made it back home and put Red up for the weekend and slept on it. Went and got one of our other service trucks out and got it cleaned up and ready to work, and got caught up with that and thought I'd look at this truck and see if I could figure out what was going on, and I got lucky and thought I'd share my findings with you. So I popped the hood, just looking around, looking for some kind of obvious problem, and didn't really see anything jump out at me, and started the engine and decided to start pulling off plug wires to see if any of the plug wires made any difference when I disconnected them. On this 97 Ford F-150, this is the 4.6 Triton V8. This truck has two coil pack assemblies. Look on this passenger side where I'm at, where the light's shining here. That is a coil pack right there. It's got the 1, 2, 3, 4 wires coming off of it that go to your spark plugs. There's another coil pack on the driver's side. I had taken the air filter housing apart, pulled it back out of the way where I could get down to the coil pack on the driver's side. Just looked at everything, looking for obvious signs of trouble, didn't see any. So I decided to start pulling these spark plug wires off the coil. At first I was going to pull the spark plug covers off, but as you look back in here, they are buried. There's one down in there beside that fuel injector, but they're all the way back, just buried back in that firewall. And I thought, well, I'll just take the easy route, mash the easy button, and just pull them off up here. So I use some standard pliers. These are probably Craftsman. I've had them a long time. They're really good. I slipped them over to the large side of the slip joint, so that's a larger grip. And if you look on these wire connectors onto the coil, they've got two latches. Get my flashlight to cooperate. So yeah, just grab the hold just like this and cross those two latches on the outside, about like I got it right there on the outside of those two latches, and squeeze those latches together like so, and just pull, kind of wriggle, pull that wire right off of that coil pack. That solid coil pack is underneath there. These 4 bolts that hold in. You see that one bolt there on the top corner? There's one on each corner, basically. There's one other little attachment on this lower corner. see it right there under that bottom little bolt. See if I can get that light in there for you. There's that little bolt on that bottom corner holding that other little wire, which is something separate. That's just a mounting point for that wire. But so I had the truck running, and I grabbed this first one on the top left while the truck's running. I pulled it off, and you could hear the electricity arcing in there. And I pulled this wire completely away where the power couldn't arc, and the truck, it was still skipping, but it may have made a little bit of difference, but nothing real noticeable. I put it back on, and then the second one I pulled off was this one on the top right. This wire, I traced this wire. It goes across here and over the engine over there. I think it's that second wire, and it goes over the top of the intake alternator area over to the other side. And it's the first spark plug on the driver's side on the front of the engine. When I pulled this coil wire off right here, top right, there was no ticking sound, no electricity arcing sound like there was on the first one I pulled off. So that was an indicator right there that coil, that particular outlet going to the spark plug, was dead. For some reason, it was dead. So I put it back on, and I took the next one off and the next one off, and I went, and they were all making the electricity arcing sound, and you could see the fire arcing, and I just kept the truck running, and I just went through all of them, pulled them all off. And a couple of them, I think more on the driver's side, made a real obvious difference when I pulled them off. But these over here, they didn't really make a huge difference with the truck just sitting here idling. No major, change in the truck. It was already skipping, kind of shaking. You could put your hand, I could put my hand on the hood, right here, and it was just, kind of shuddering, wasn't running real smooth. And like I say, I went to the other side and pulled all of those four off, and they were all making fire, electricity, arcing, ticking sound. When I'd pull them off, I put them back on. So I decided that this was the problem on this side, and I decided to call a friend. Jeff, he's a good friend of mine's. He's a good friend of mine also. He's also the dad of a good buddy of mine I grew up with. And he used to manage a auto shop, towing shop, junkyard, lots and lots of years of experience. Called Jeff, and I told him what I had discovered and asked him what I should do from here, and should I go just buy, can I get this at Advance Auto, or where do I go from here? Do I have to go to Ford dealership? He said, no, they got them at Advance, or, unless a junkyard, which that particular junkyard is closed now. That was RV Theo's junkyard in Woodruff, South Carolina, the junkyard capital of the world. And he's passed on now, but lots of thanks to Jeff and RV Theo for their help with my many projects through my lifetime. So I called Advance Auto, and yes, sir, we got coil packs for you on the shelf. We got one for $75, and we've got one for $80. The one for $80 has a limited lifetime warranty. If it goes defective, they'll replace it at no charge. Yes, sir. I'll take that one. I'll be there in an hour. So got everything organized and made a list, and went and got the coil pack. While I was at it, I got the air intake filter. I had already taken this housing off and decided to go ahead and get it, which I've already put it in here. This is the Purelator A34878. It was on sale. Got a super good deal on it. Put my painter's tape on here with the date so I can remember what I did here. Swapped out the coil. Here's the coil I bought. This is the CarQuest ignition coil for this 97 F-150 4.6 liter Triton. This is the EBE1834, about $80. CarQuest brand. This is what it looks like. Coil pack. This is the bottom. This is the top. This is a Motorcraft. Sorry about that. There's the bottom. There's the top. I noticed that Grandaddy Long leg in there. I wonder if he could have caused it to short out somehow with his long, wiry legs hanging around up in there. So let's see how this was on here. Here's my blue painter's tape for this coil pack, where I did this so I can remember it. So let's see what lasts longer, the painter's tape or the coil pack. Y'all comment down below which one you think will last longer. So if you look at the new coil pack that's on here, you see that wire connector right there. If you notice real closely, it's got two little slits. Well, that upper and that lower piece of plastic, that's the latch, that's the lock. And the way that I got that off of there without breaking it, I used these two little bars here. I put this one in the slot on the bottom like that, and this one on the slot in the top like that. So I got these two, opposite in each slot. And I twisted just barely, just to lift the plastic latch up on the top one and down on the bottom one. And while I did that, I pulled these levers towards the front of the engine, and that released that electrical connector without breaking it, which it connects onto this. So this is positioned like that. You see the locking tabs that you're lifting those little plastic arms over. So you've got 3 wire connectors inside there. It's got a gasket. Everything looked good. You see where the 4 bolts bolted to the truck. The electrical wires, they're just like a single prong that go down into that socket. You can see that. Yeah, the old Granddaddy. So yeah, about 20 minutes. Swapped it out. Took me about 30 minutes to get the air filter in the other side of it. It took longer to do the air filter than it did the coil pack. So yeah, just got back doing a test drive. Running good. Old Red is running good. So here's the tools I used on the coil pack. 7mm socket, which I used a swivel. This is a 1/4-inch drive. I used this short extension and this long extension, and I used this hand driver as needed. And I had a extendable magnet that may or may not have helped me much. I was able to get my hands in there and get a hold of those bolts without dropping them. You don't want to drop those bolts down through that mess and have to find where they fall. But I did take this this tool right here that clips in for the the spare tire, the jack. I took this out of the way. That made a big difference, being able to get your hands down in there to manage those screws. I think the screw on the bottom towards the cab side of the truck, that was the toughest one to get to, and I just closed my eyes and held my mouth right, and just luckily it fell in there, and I said, oh, thank you, Lord, helping me get that in there so effortlessly. I hope y'all get y'all's in there like I did, so easy. So yeah, old Ford's been good to me. 97 model. It has been a good truck. If I could get another truck that's been this good, man, probably wouldn't need another truck in my lifetime. So yeah, hope this video helps y'all. Maybe I'll see y'all on the water. Put that Chevrolet back in the bushes.